Hi, I'm Mrs. D Math. Thank you for joining me today for Simple Interest in 7th grade math. Let's go ahead and get started. Simple interest is going to be a fee that you pay when you borrow money. Let's start with an example where Jack is borrowing $8,000 from his bank to buy a motorcycle. The loan charges 12% simple interest and will be paid back in 5 years. We want to know how much Jack will pay back to the bank. So Jack has borrowed money and he's going to have to pay an amount on top of the $8,000 that he's going to have to return to the bank because they're letting him borrow money. So this is considered simple interest because he's only going to pay interest or an extra amount on that $8,000. So let's go ahead and use our formula here and figure out how to solve this one. So I do have my formula I equals PRT. I is my interest, so that's going to be what I'm solving for here. So I'm just going to leave that as the beginning of the problem. $8,000 is my principal. Principal is going to be your amount of money. And then R is my rate. So this is my percent, but I do have to turn it into a decimal. So I'm going to put this in the math problem. In order to turn 12% into a decimal, I'm dividing by 100, which means I'm moving my decimal 2 places to the left. And then T is our time, and this time has to be in years. For us, it's already in years, but if it were in months, I would need to change that to years. So now I can go ahead, once I have my problem filled out, I can solve for the interest. So I'm going to do 8,000 times 12%, which is 0.12, times 5. And I know that 12 times 5 is 60, and then I have to move my decimal over 2 places to the left, so that would be 0.6. And then I'm going to multiply that times 8,000. So I can see here that 8,000 times 6/10 is going to equal $4,800. So that's going to be the amount of interest that Jack's going to have to pay for borrowing the money. The question actually wants to know how much is he going to pay back total. He borrowed $8,000. He's going to have to pay back $4,800 in interest plus the $8,000 that he borrowed. So that means that he's going to end up having to pay back $12,800. So you can see here that when you borrow money based on that percentage rate and how many years you borrow the money, you are going to have to pay back interest, which is just an amount that they're going to charge you for borrowing that money. So for this next example, we are going to actually start saving money for college. So not only are you going to sometimes borrow money and have to pay interest, but you can also invest money and that money will earn interest. So let's look at the other side of this where we're trying to figure out which option is going to get us the most amount of money on our investment. So we're going to save for college and we want to invest $1,500. Our option A says at 4 years for a loan, we're going to make 3.5% simple interest. Option B offers a 3-year loan at 4% simple interest. So we're going to start with option A, and when I fill this in, I do need to find my interest again. My principal is $1,500. Again, that's the amount of money that you're either investing or borrowing. My rate is the percent as a decimal. So when I move my decimal over 2 places, it's going to be 0.035. And then I'm going to multiply that times 4 years. And so I know that since it's already years in time, I don't have to change anything. So we're going to go ahead and solve this one. So if I first multiply 0.035 times 4, I'm going to get 0.14. And then I'm going to have to multiply that times 1,500 to figure out my interest. So I'm going to go ahead and solve that. All right, so the interest on the 3.5% at 4 years is going to equal $210. So now we're going to solve for option B. And option B, I'm going to use my same formula. This time 1,500 is still my principal, and I'm going to have a 4% simple interest, so that would be 0.04 times 3 years. So this one's a little bit different. Now I have 0.12 times 1,500. And I can see here that the interest on this one is going to be $180. So I can tell just by looking at this that option A is going to earn me a lot more interest as far as the 3.5% is lower, but it is a longer loan. So maybe you want to go with option B because you only have 3 years to save. Or maybe you want to go with option A and then you're going to make a little bit more money on your investment. So it just depends. But you can see here simple interest can be used whether you are borrowing money and you have to pay that money back with simple interest, or if you are investing money and you want to make a little bit of money on your investment. And in this case, we had 2 banks and we had to figure out which one was going to be our better option. I'm Mrs. D Math. This has been Simple Interest in 7th grade math. I hope you have a great day. Bye.